Welcome to a new episode of the People of Nature podcast. Today, our guest speaker is the talented, multi award winning young wildlife photographer Akshita Jain from Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. Akshita is an achiever. Brilliant in her studies, she cleared the IIT entrance examinations with flying colors and completed her BTech in chemical engineering from IIT Guwahati with a gold medal. She is currently working as a software engineer in Microsoft Hyderabad. However, her talents are not only restricted to her studies but also to many other fields, especially wildlife photography. Akshita grew up visiting national parks and sanctuaries and developed a bond with nature at a very young age. Soon, she started expressing her love for the wilderness through a camera. Today, she has won several awards and thousands of hearts with her captivating images that tell stories of the wild world never told before. Akshita is now traveling across India and the world, documenting conservation stories through her camera. So, let us learn about her exciting experiences in wildlife photography on this podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Akshita. Really glad to have you here.
Thank you so much, Oishi, and thank you for the lovely introduction, for all the kind words you just said. It's a pleasure to be here, and I am really very excited for all the conversation we're about to have.
Wonderful. Looking forward to the conversation with you. So, let us begin with our first question, which is what or who first triggered your love for wildlife and wildlife photography?
So I would say, for me personally, the love for wildlife was triggered first, and it
Hmm.
later got transformed into the love for wildlife photography. My
Hmm.
parents used to extensively work with the forest department of Madhya Pradesh. So I remember as early as when I was 5 years old, I was
Hmm.
exposed to the national parks of Madhya Pradesh, and
Hmm.
I had extensively traveled a lot of these parks, be it Kanha National Park,
Hmm.
Bandhavgarh, Pench,
Hmm.
Satpura. And all of that instilled a love for nature and wildlife into me in the very early years of my life, because that
Okay.
is what I saw a lot while growing up. And
Hmm.
as they say, that whatever you experience through your early
Hmm.
childhood is something that stays with you. So
Yes.
that was the case with me. I think it definitely stayed with me for a long, long time.
Hmm.
It was much later at the age of 13 when I was finally exposed to photography.
Hmm.
So, my father was a hobbyist photographer. He used to always
Hmm.
like having a camera at his hand. So, growing
Hmm.
up, I had always seen him having his digital camera, shooting from it. And,
Hmm.
that's how once I decided to accompany him on one of the competitions that he was participating in. It was
Hmm.
a 1 day live photography competition on the occasion of
Okay.
Wildlife Week.
Hmm.
I tried to participate along just to see how it goes. And
Hmm.
to my surprise, I somehow won that competition in the junior category,
Hmm.
which for a kid was a really good thing. I really cherished that moment. And I thought that this is something I might be interested in. That's how I first picked the camera. And naturally, I was using the camera in order to,
Hmm.
just have the memories of nature and wildlife saved with me for a long, long time, because that is what I was really, really connected to.
Hmm.
My friend was super supportive throughout this. Within a year of shooting through the digital camera, he got me
Hmm.
my first ever DSLR, which was at the age of 14. And since
Right.
then, he's been ensuring that I get the right equipment and
Hmm.
whatever I needed to the best of his capacity. That is
Hmm.
how I had started this. So I think I would give huge credits to
Hmm.
my father, who enabled me to do this and planted the seed in me for this wonderful passion that I
Oh,
cherish till date.
oh, wonderful to know that your father was your first mentor. So gradually over the years, so like since you picked up photography, and you started practicing, did you take any formal training for the same, or how did you improve your skills in wildlife photography?
So I have never taken any formal training as such when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
photography. I would say I'm a self-taught photographer.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, obviously one cannot learn everything on their own. And
Mm-hmm.
throughout this journey, there have been so many people who have been inspiring me.
Mm-hmm.
Today we live in a wonderful era wherein knowledge is very much accessible, be it
Mm-hmm.
through knowledge sharing platforms, let's say YouTube, wherein I can
Mhm.
learn a lot of new skills, be it
Right.
even through social media, wherein a lot of other fellow photographers, some of the very
Mhm.
eminent ones, share their work. So the journey
Mhm.
has been full of taking inspiration from a
Mhm.
lot of these people. I
Mhm.
would say the eminent ones, the ones
Mhm.
who I really look forward to. They have taught me a lot
Mhm.
through their
Mhm.
work, and even sometimes when I got to meet them in person and through
Mhm.
discussing ideas with them. And
Mhm.
I would say it's not just about the eminent photographer's work who was inspiring.
Mhm.
I feel
Mhm.
like every time I meet any fellow photographer, even if it's
Mhm.
like they're a beginner photographer, there is
Mhm.
always something that everyone has to offer, because this is an artistic field. And when you
Absolutely.
talk to fellow people, you always get to know something or the other. I would say
Mhm.
even this is not even restricted to photographers who I take inspiration from, be it any
Mhm.
other artist, the ones who paint, the ones who write. Everyone has some input or the other which kept on
Mhm.
inspiring me through the journey.
Mhm.
So yeah, when I started photography, it was initially my father who taught me
Mhm.
the basics, and from there on, it has been inspiration from people across the world, across the country, I would say.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. I can understand this because in the field of creativity, be it storytelling, be it photography, you basically learn from everything, everybody. You pick up things from everyone and get inspired. That's wonderful to know. So, so that's how you picked up your photography and you continued, honing your skills in the field. So after that, like you went for, your studies in the IIT, and that there must have been a lot of study pressure, 11, 12, and then after that, studying for your BTech. So how did you did you continue with your photography during this time while you were working in while you were studying in IIT, or how did it help your association with the IIT? Did it help your develop your photography skills further in any way?
Right. So definitely, coming to my association with photography, I think I have
Mhm.
never ever, taken a break from it since I started doing it. It has been a part
Mhm.
of my lifestyle. So I
Mhm.
did continue it in IIT Guwahati, and even during that time when I was preparing for JEE, even during 11th
Mhm.
and 12th standard, this was something which was still a part of my life.
Okay.
IIT Guwahati had given me a lot of opportunities when it came to photography. So
Mhm.
my college had a dedicated photography club,
Mhm.
wherein we used to have a lot of events. We could actually lead the events ourselves. I
Mhm.
myself acted as the secretary of the photography club, wherein I,
Mhm.
got to know not just how to create my own photographs, but to also
Mhm.
work together in teams, work with different people, and create something fantastic, organize different events. I got
Mhm.
to extensively network with a lot of big names in the field throughout the
Mhm.
country,
Mhm.
as we had them as speakers to a few of the
Mhm.
events in our college. I
Mhm.
remember IIT Guwahati is the place wherein I created my first photo essay ever. We
Mhm.
used to
Mhm.
have these inter-hostel and inter-IIT competitions wherein we would be given a particular theme and some time to make a
Mhm.
photo essay on it. So that
Okay.
was the first time ever I got exposed to it, and I did not know that I will be carrying it, long enough with me even in the coming years. But I did, and today, as of this time, photo essays is something I love to extensively work on, and the seed was planted
Uh-huh.
in there at IIT Guwahati. Along with that, another beautiful thing that happened there was I was primarily a nature and wildlife photographer before I started living in the Northeast. But as I went there,
Mhm.
that's a beautiful landscape,
Mhm.
full of beautiful nature, full of various cultures. It has so much to
Mhm.
offer. And that's when I
Yes.
expanded my horizons to travel photography as well, and to documenting the different cultures, the different
Mhm.
heritages, different tribes, everything. And
Okay.
that I think still continues with me, because now when I like to tell stories of wildlife, I also like to integrate it with the people and the landscape of the area I'm talking about.
Excellent.
So all of this started there. It has played a huge role there.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a bit of pressure when it came to academics as well,
Mhm.
but then we
Mhm.
were given enough opportunities to be able to sort of balance that. And I think
Mhm.
leading a disciplined life there is
Mhm.
what also helped me balance my passion along with the academics. So
Right.
it was a beautiful time of my life wherein I got to explore, yeah, even the entire northeastern part of the country and document a lot over there.
Right. Okay. So this is really inspirational to the younger generations because, like balancing studies, which you may say that discipline helped you, which is very important, definitely. And so it's also good that you could, get an opportunity to further your skills while studying, and your college also, played a role in that. So when you're talking about photo essays, which is what you first started, developing while while studying in the IIT. So when coming to that, you are very much known for your, photo essays, remarkable photo essays that actually won you two awards at the Wild Clicks. So why don't you tell us about your Wild Clicks experience, about the photography competition, and about your winning, and how did it change you as a photographer participating in this competition?
Right. So my journey with White Lakes has been a long one, and it has been very, very enriching. The
Mm-hmm.
first White Lakes season that I ever participated in was like right after I took my JEE exams in 12th standard. So
Mm-hmm.
soon after my exams, I went to participate in the Satpura edition of Wildflakes, which was Wildflakes 7. And
Mm-hmm.
to see the people who I am always inspired from, and to work with them there was a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful experience. Like people like Shivang sir,
Mm-hmm.
who I always used to seek inspiration from. I got to be there with them for 4 or 5 days. Uh,
Yeah.
take their inputs on my images, so that was really enriching. And since then, I had kept on participating until the season so far. So
Mm-hmm.
Wildflakes 7 was in Satpura, Wildflakes 8 was in Little Run of Kutch, and these were primarily single photo based photo competitions.
Okay.
I did win an honorable mention in the first season I participated in, and
Right.
category winner in the second. But
Okay.
after that, Whitelakes 9 was something really, really special to me. It happened after a long break due to COVID, I think after 5 years, it continued
Okay.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
And this season was really interesting because the challenge was that instead of single pictures, there has to be a photo essay, which has to
Yes.
be created. Which is again something I was doing for the first time ever. I had created photo essays before, but to create a photo essay which is based on wildlife and tells a conservation story was something I was
Mm-hmm.
doing for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
The process behind it was totally fantastic. I mean, I had extensively researched on the Panna landscape. Yeah. This season, since it was held in Panna National Park, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to create a story of Panna, I tried to
Mm-hmm.
research extensively to ensure that I am inculcating all the bits and pieces of the beautiful story of this huge landscape into my essay. The kind of support and the kind of inspiration as well you get at a platform like Wildflix is totally unparalleled. There
Mm-hmm.
are some of the best photography minds of the country at one place, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the amazing mentors, amazing jury, and the kind of learning which happens there is totally fantastic. Be it
Mm-hmm.
through learning from others or even myself, I think I would push my creative boundaries a lot more at a platform like Wildflix than what I
Mm-hmm.
would do otherwise if I'm solely creating a photo essay or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
again, going ahead, Wildflix 10, which was held at Bharatpur National Park,
Mm-hmm.
was again truly fantastic, wherein I had created a photo essay based on the wetland wonders of Keoladio. Again, to
Right.
talk about the challenges of this wetland that it has been facing, the
Mm-hmm.
kind of wonders it has, along with the history, the amazing history, and the future challenges it holds, was
Mm-hmm.
something really special to me. So I had won the grand title in these 2 seasons, and
Yeah.
that has been a true moment of honor for me. So it was full
Right.
of learning, is what I would say, and yeah, definitely for people who are beginning or even are experts in the field of
Mm-hmm.
photography and are looking for such a platform, I would highly recommend that they try and participate in Wildflix.
Right. That's great to hear. And I have gone through your, the photo stories of both Bharatpur and Panna, and definitely, I mean, it's very important. I would say, like, to upcoming photographers to go and see them, because that actually shows how you can tell stories through photographs, through a series of photographs, and that's really wonderful what you did. And I would say that, I would recommend the listeners to go to Wildclick's platform and see your stories. So, next is therefore, like, since you have photographed so many species over the years, so what animal do you love to photograph the most, and what is your favorite destination for photography as well? So these two questions, yeah.
So honestly speaking, I try to have a lot of versatility in terms of
Hmm.
what subjects I am shooting.
Hmm.
Generally, I love to shoot all sorts of wildlife and nature, like
Hmm.
be it, the birds, be it the big cats, be
Hmm.
it the snakes or the macro life, the
Hmm.
small insects. So I absolutely love to, shoot everything and anything that is out there. And
Okay.
seek for truly is some amazing moments in the wild. Like
Hmm.
even if there is a subject which is otherwise thought to be a common subject, but if I see a
Hmm.
wonderful natural history behavior associated to the subject, I would love to
Hmm.
photograph it. Similarly, I would love to tell conservation through the stories through my work.
Right.
But that being said, in few years, I have come to the realization that I do have a great inclination towards photographing primates,
Hmm.
all sorts of primates. I love how much of a commonality they share with human beings.
Hmm.
Being surrounded with primates, I really feel that yeah, we do have a lot to share in common. The kind of intelligence and expressions
Hmm.
they have is totally amazing, and it's a very different feeling to be surrounded by them.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say that is one inclination I had, and owing to which one of few of my favorite destinations for wildlife photography have been around these places wherein I can see primates. For instance,
Okay.
the Kolongapar Gibbon Sanctuary in Assam. I
Right.
especially love going to these places because here I also have the flexibility to walk in the forest instead of
Right.
being restricted to a safari vehicle. So
Yes.
safari vehicles have their own charm, but when it
Yes.
comes to walking through the forest, you get to
Hmm.
truly experience the beauty of the
Hmm.
jungle, and truly I am able to, have no boundaries around my creativity.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that is
Hmm.
one favorite destination of mine, along with another place I recently visited, which is Borneo, which is
Okay.
uh, which is one of the last homes left to the wild orangutans.
Hmm. Hmm.
Again, this experience as well involves walking through the forest, which is something I
Hmm.
really love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So interesting. Yeah. So to know that, like, you are interested in primates, and also, yes, in walking, because walking, takes you to nature in a way that vehicle safaris will never do that. So,
Definitely.
yeah. So since you have worked in the forests of India and also outside India, so can you, like, if you just remember one or two experiences that you would like to share with us, something interesting, something exciting, or something maybe beautiful, whatever. So, like, whatever that influenced you or inspired you a lot, just share one or two moments from your experiences.
So one experience would definitely be witnessing a
Mhm.
cheetah hunting. This is
Okay.
something I've been seeing a lot since early childhood on National
Mm-hmm.
Geographic. The
Okay.
kind of thrill of this moment is totally beyond anything that I had expected. I knew it would
Mm-hmm.
be really thrilling, but to like see it in person was
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. This
Okay.
moment was again all the more special for me because I had shared it with my father when the two of us went to Masai Mara National Reserve
Mm-hmm.
back in the December of 2023. So it
Mm-hmm.
was one fantastic experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know how the entire sequence takes place is so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It started with the cheetah, who's also a mother. She was
Mm-hmm.
trying to look for the prey, and there was a herd of impalas that she was
Mm-hmm.
constantly looking at. But
Mm-hmm.
then, even the cheetah is so intelligent, they won't just directly pounce at whatever prey they see. They have this entire strategy as
Mm-hmm.
to, when is the right time to start running
Mm-hmm.
and to catch the prey.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we were following the cheetah, we were following her. We could see how, she's sort of strategizing. She was
Mm-hmm.
climbing on the mounds to get a better view of where the herd is situated. And
Mm-hmm.
when that moment finally happened, when she started running towards the huge
Mm-hmm.
herds of impalas, gazelles, and topis, there was
Mm-hmm.
this, there was so much chaos all around. The entire
Mm-hmm.
grassland was just, filled with animals running left and right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even I could not see the moment wherein she actually caught one of the impalas. I couldn't see it from my own eyes, let alone photographing. That's how fast
Mm-hmm.
everything happens in the savannah. But
Mm-hmm.
then once she actually, got the prey,
Mm-hmm.
she and the baby, after resting for a bit, they started feeding on the prey. And right after that, I saw that a lot of vultures have started coming in. So one
Okay.
by one, there were so many vultures on the tree. They sort of
Mm-hmm.
started circling the mother and the cub along with the prey in order to,
Mm-hmm.
wait for their chance as to when they will get to eat this. And
Mm-hmm.
then came a hyena again,
Mm-hmm.
which was chased away by the cheetah. But even a
Mm-hmm.
hyena came in there. So the mother and the baby cheetah, they fed on this until they were full. And as soon as
Mm-hmm.
they left, the vultures took like no more than 1 minute to like finish off rest of everything which was left. And towards
Mm-hmm.
the end, I think it was only some bit of skin in the head which was left, which the hyena came and took away. Through
Mm-hmm.
this experience, I got to see the entire circle of life. I mean, I was
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
those impalas there grazing through the
Mm-hmm.
ground. And
Mm-hmm.
so it started from them grazing to the ground, and it sort of
Mm-hmm.
ended in them mixing with the earth itself.
Wow.
That was one fantastic experience to see this entire circle
Yes.
of life right in
Yes.
front of my eyes. So, yeah, I think
Yes.
this was one crazy, crazy moment in the wild.
Indeed, indeed. You have provided a very detailed description and could just imagine it before my eyes. That was beautiful. Yeah. This is a very beautiful description. I would say, like something that you really were thrilled and enjoyed. But did anything happen that where you actually felt like afraid, or there was a risk to your life during your adventures?
Definitely, there have been so many such experiences. So I can
Mm-hmm.
recollect two of my very recent experiences, which happened this month itself. So
Mm-hmm.
I was in Indonesia, and first of all, I wanted to see and photograph the Komodo dragon. So
Mm-hmm.
the Komodo dragons are like the largest lizards we have on the planet today. They are
Mm-hmm.
totally fantastic in the way they live through their life, how they are
Mm-hmm.
confined to the islands of Indonesia. There are just 4 islands where they are present, and it was
Mm-hmm.
again a childhood dream to be able to see them.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened right before I was about to, step onto the Komodo Island is I had this episode of lot of nose bleeding, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just continuous nose bleeding, which
Okay.
absolutely was
Mm-hmm.
not stopping. The
Mm-hmm.
problem with that was the dragons, the Komodo dragons, they sense blood in order to find their prey. So I
Okay.
was really worried if this nose bleeding continues, even
Mm-hmm.
my life could be in danger because I could
Yeah,
be under
yeah,
the threat of
yeah,
an attack.
yeah,
Thankfully, nothing like that happened.
yeah,
I was when I was actually on the island surrounded by the dragons. It was all
yeah.
fine. It was a beautiful experience.
Right.
Another scary experience that I can think of is related to the same trip in
Mm-hmm.
Indonesia, wherein I was in
Mm-hmm.
Borneo, which
Mm-hmm.
is the home to orangutans. So
Mm-hmm.
I was staying on a boat on the river, and on the
Mm-hmm.
first night of my stay, there was this insane thunderstorm. There was so much
Mm-hmm.
rain, so much of lightning.
Mm-hmm.
It continued for like more than 4 hours in the night, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really scary at that point in time because even the boat had started getting filled with water. So
Okay.
there was a lot of risk as at this point in time, like the boat
Mm-hmm.
could be submerged. Since there
Yeah.
was a lot of lightning, even the lightning was a bit scary. We could have been
Mm-hmm.
struck by lightning.
Mm-hmm.
That was, yeah, one scary experience. Again, thankfully, nothing really happened.
Right.
But yeah, these are some
Yeah.
recent
Yeah.
scary experiences
Oh
I can
God,
share.
that's a lot for one. Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot for one trip, I would say. So okay.
Right.
Anyway, you're back safe. That's good. Now we are interviewing here.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So okay, so it's wonderful to know. So already you have mentioned that your favorite, like I mean, not favorite, but you want to photograph basically primates in the future a lot. So like often photographers have like a bucket list, like like we want to go here, we want to photograph these species. So do you have any bucket list of yours, like you want to go to these destinations and photograph these species, or which primates do you want to photograph? Do you have any list of that, of the same?
Yeah, I think if I think about it, I do sort of have a rough list
Mhm.
in my head,
Yeah,
some bucket
yeah,
list items. So,
right.
to start with, as you mentioned, primates, that's something
Uh-huh.
they're something which I find really incredibly raw, and they're very expressive
Right,
about their behaviors.
right.
So, I've really wanted to see the gorillas and the
Okay.
chimpanzees.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can I might plan Rwanda in order to see them.
Uh-huh.
The endemic lemurs of the Madagascar are something
Mm-hmm.
which really, really fascinate
Mm-hmm.
me. In fact, that entire landscape of Madagascar, it has so much to
Mm-hmm.
offer. It is like one
Mm-hmm.
of the oldest forests of the world.
Right.
So those are definitely ones. Uh, and even, closer to home, in India
Mm-hmm.
itself, we have the lion-tailed macaques in the Western
Right.
Ghats.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are endangered species. They have
Mm-hmm.
such a beautiful and unique presence.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, I have never been able to see them until this
Okay.
date.
Mm-hmm.
In next few months, they are definitely something that I'll be planning a trip for to the Western
Great.
Ghats. Um,
Great.
Beyond primates, I would say I'm also drawn a lot to the Himalayan wildlife, be
Okay.
it the snow leopard, the red
Mm-hmm.
panda, Tibetan wolf. I think
Mm-hmm.
these species represent wildness in its purest forms. They're thriving in
Mm-hmm.
some of the harshest, very very
Mm-hmm.
remote terrains. And
Mm-hmm.
that being said, another species that is thriving in very very harsh terrains is the Great Indian Bustard. And
Mm-hmm.
even in the recent times, I was documenting some conservation work around the Great Indian bustards. So
Mm-hmm.
far, I have not seen an individual, but their fight for
Mm-hmm.
survival has really become personal for me with the kind of
Mm-hmm.
documentation I've been doing. And that is one species
Mm-hmm.
I would really, really want to witness soon in the future.
That's great that you've already thought about these species and especially want to highlight their conservation status, especially the Great Indian Bustard and the lion-tailed macaques of India also. So that's great. So
Definitely, yeah.
like when you're yeah, so when you're talking about all these photography and all, so like basic one thing is of course when a photograph is beautiful, it also draws a lot of people to these photographs, and that's how many people fall in love with photography. So we know that photography is a
Right.
way to bring people into conservation. But along with that, how can wildlife photography help in conservation according to you?
Yeah, so I think wildlife photography has a great role to play when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
conservation. It
Mm-hmm.
sort of acts like a bridge, is what I would say. It
Mm-hmm.
really
Right.
connects people to the wild places, which one might
Yes.
never experience firsthand on their own.
Uh-huh.
And
Mm-hmm.
even one single image has like enough power to evoke various emotions, be it
Right.
curiosity, be it empathy, be it even
Mm-hmm.
outrage. These are
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
powerful emotions which are the drivers to change, I would say. So
True.
I think as photographers, we are, at this point in time, we are sort of vanishing, we are sort of documenting vanishing wildlife, something that
Yes.
is worth fighting for, which we might be even
Mm-hmm.
able to prevent from vanishing through our work. And
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this a lot, like even through some of the photo essays that I have created. That
Mm-hmm.
when even ordinary people who are not solely as such into wildlife, who are not really
Right.
exposed to wildlife, when
Yes.
they are able to see such work, they are
Mm-hmm.
really able to invoke the sense of the spirit of conservation in humans, and also
Mm-hmm.
amplify a lot of unheard voices.
Right.
Yeah, I mean there is so much work at the grassroots level which is
Mm-hmm.
going on in so many landscapes, and
Mm-hmm.
these voices need to be amplified in order
Mm-hmm.
for them to reach the right platform wherein they can get the right support. And
Mm-hmm.
I would also say it's all it's about how we are telling these stories, along with
Mm-hmm.
showing the beauty
Yes.
of the wildlife. There is
Mm-hmm.
also a need to emphasize on the context, the conflict, and the
Okay.
conservation efforts, and that's where I
Mm-hmm.
think the real impact of wildlife photography lies when we say when we talk about conservation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think not only wildlife, you have also recently I've seen your pictures of your documentation of the Bishnoi culture and how they
Right.
are working in the Rajasthan and like documenting the people in conservation. Also, that's also what you have done, and that's also very helpful to encourage these people, and also to showcase to others in a very beautiful way to showcase to others like how important these local communities are, like the Bishnoi people are, and how they are
Exactly.
conserving nature. So it's
Exactly.
beautiful, not just wild animals, but you're also photographing the people in conservation. That's also very important. So yeah, so this is so next is like so as a photographer, yeah, I can understand that like often you have to like you want to get your photographs, you're very like you have to go into challenging situations and everything, but there are also ethical standards to maintain, right? So how do you manage to
Right.
do that? How do you manage to maintain the ethical standards of photography?
Right. I think ethics really are the backbone of wildlife photography, and without them, there is no wildlife photography at all.
Hmm.
So, how I think about it is, if at all my presence is changing any animal's natural behavior,
Hmm.
then I
Hmm.
think I have failed. So,
Right.
the task here, I think, is to observe and not to
Hmm.
interfere.
Hmm.
So, it might sound simple when we hear it like that, but I think there is a deep meaning that goes into it.
Hmm.
There can be, lot many things. I mean, I have heard of people even using certain malpractices like playing
Hmm.
bird calls in order to attract
Hmm.
birds. Such
Hmm.
stuff essentially changes the nature of the wildlife. So using a bait, using bird
Right.
calls, or even at
Right.
times not maintaining a safe distance from the animal. These are
Right.
few things which can really hamper wildlife behavior. Along with, I would say,
Yes.
sometimes unknowingly we might be leaking some very some ecological information to the people
Yes.
who are
Yes.
not supposed to be receiving it, like the poachers. So at
Mm-hmm.
times one needs to be really careful about how you're sharing locations when it comes to sharing your
Yes.
work on the social
Mm-hmm.
media, on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say as long as one is ensuring that they're not changing the behavior of the wildlife, they are
Yes.
doing well.
Very,
Yeah.
very well explained. Like what actually ethical means. Just just let nature be and just photograph whatever you are seeing, whatever. Just photograph that, and instead of trying to change, bring about change in that. That's very,
Right.
very simply and nicely explained. So, so another thing is that as a woman, like, I mean, in India especially, or traveling to other countries as well, like sometimes you might be traveling solo, sometimes with friends. So, do you face any or in the competitive field as well in photography? So, do you feel there are any challenges as a woman in the field? Like, if they are, then what are they, and how do you overcome them?
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of challenges, especially being a female in this field. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of work I do often, involves me traveling to very remote places, and there can be a lot of concerns around safety, around mobility, or even I would say around acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Addressing the first issue, which is safety, this is something I have personally had a lot of experiences with. Sometimes some places or some people might not be as safe.
Mm-hmm.
For that, I really, try to equip myself with the proper
Mm-hmm.
safety gear.
Okay.
Whenever I am traveling alone to locations, I like to
Mm-hmm.
carry some safety equipment, some self-defense
Okay.
equipment with myself.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I also, whenever I'm traveling to any given location, I try to, sort of find a reference to whichever
Right.
location I'm trying to. I'll try to have a local contact with someone who
Yes.
I have worked with, has already worked with in the past.
Okay.
That way, it's better to establish the sort of trust.
Yes.
That is one thing. And another thing is, which, as I was talking about acceptance, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there is sometimes there might be an implicit sort of bias, like
Mm-hmm.
people might assume that I might need help with my gear, or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they might even assume that I am a hobbyist rather than a serious
Mm-hmm.
photographer.
Right.
And
Right.
at such instances, you might not be given the right sort of permissions, maybe that I
Okay. Yeah.
need to work in a certain place, or maybe the right
Mm-hmm.
kind of support that I may require.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, even I would say representation matters a lot. You
Mm-hmm.
don't really see a lot of women leading field assignments or mentoring in wildlife photography,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and that
Yes.
again becomes a challenge. But then
Mm-hmm.
that that said, sometimes I have definitely also experienced a strong support system, be it from communities, be it from
Mm-hmm.
fellow women and even men in the conservation space.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as a person, I would try to
Mm-hmm.
uh, try to carry that legacy by mentoring young women,
Right.
whoever wants to reach out to me, and then
Yes.
be vocal about inclusivity.
Absolutely great. Yeah, so it's good then. I mean, like, that there are problems, but you are already overcoming them. And I think this should be an inspiration to other women who want to be explorers, want to do wildlife photography. So definitely. And so now that, like, you are like proceeding with your journey as a wildlife photographer. So what do you want to, like, what are you planning to achieve in the future? How do you see yourself in the future as a wildlife photographer?
Yeah, I think I would really want to grow as a wildlife photographer in the future. And when I say growth,
Hmm?
um, I can say growth can actually be twofold growth. One can
Mm-hmm.
be uh, one can be the creative growth, and the other could
Yeah,
be impact wise growth.
right.
So when it comes to creativity, I think I would want to explore a lot of other narrative based storytelling styles as well. Let's say short films, let's
Mm-hmm.
say even more of photo essays, some immersive experiences. So
Mm-hmm.
I would want my work to have all of that, along
Mm-hmm.
with also having a lot of technical creativity in my pictures. There are a lot of techniques that can be used in the current scenario. The cameras
Mm-hmm.
are so well equipped with the kind of technology we have. There are a lot of techniques that can be used. So I would like to, grow my knowledge in that area, get in more
Mm-hmm.
creativity into my work. And
Mm-hmm.
when I talk about impact, I would say I would like to work with projects that bring in together photography and conservation.
Mm-hmm.
That could be documenting some community-led efforts, maybe building some awareness platforms, and like basically integrating visual storytelling into citizen science, I would say. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, to reach that position, I am investing a lot of time even right now into learning new skills. Um, Even post processing is something I've been trying to spend more time in these days, because post processing can really give me a lot of creativity. It can add a lot of creativity to my pictures. So yeah, I have been investing time in learning new skills, and I'm also trying to reach out to the right people for collaborations, because when I talk about documenting conservation efforts, it's not really just a solo pursuit. It
Mm-hmm.
thrives in collective effort.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's how I look at it.
Right, right, great. So, I mean, now I'm going to go to the most important question, last question, but the most important one, because when you're talking about time and how you have to put in so much time to all these things, like, learning and collaborating and creating. So, you're also, like, working as a software engineer in Microsoft, and at the same time, when you're doing all this, you were also studying. At the time, also, you were pursuing a wildlife photography. But we have a thing, like, like when children or are in school, or their uh, youngsters are going to college, their parents are like, focus on your studies, and the extracurriculars often take a back step in the life. But how did you manage to juggle all these things together? That should be an inspiration to the youngsters. So how did you do that?
Right.
Like, how did you manage to keep your passion alive while pursuing your studies and your job? How did you do that?
Yeah, I think there is one thing which I've always believed in. I never treat my passion as something extra, like
Right.
something extra that I'm trying to do, and it's something which is really very essential to me. Just
Mm-hmm.
like I would say, food, sleep, or exercise. It is something really, really, essential to me. It's a part of my lifestyle, my everyday lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So with that perspective, it doesn't really seem like a lot of overboard. But yeah,
Mhm.
managing it with my job or my studies has definitely been a challenge. It's not been
Mhm.
very smooth.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm working as a full-time software engineer, and
Yeah.
sometimes even the job can be very intense. It could be
Mhm.
mentally draining. But then I think
Mhm.
wildlife photography is what grounds me here. I would say it really gives me a sense of purpose, and
Mhm.
it gives me a perspective which sort of like goes beyond the daily grind.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think the key here is discipline. Be it
Mhm.
the life of a student or the life of
Mhm.
someone who's pursuing a professional career.
Hmm.
Discipline matters a lot here. If you're sort of trying to plan your day, your weeks, or your
Hmm.
months in a way that everything can be balanced, then I think
Hmm.
anything can be made possible in that sense. Even I
Hmm.
like try to plan my leaves right now very carefully. So
Hmm.
I try to prioritize that most of the trips that I'm doing, they are over the long weekends, or
Hmm.
even if at times that, like, if I'm not able to travel, or if I am
Hmm.
here doing my job in the city, I really
Hmm.
try to still stay creatively engaged through the process of, like, say, editing, writing, or just simply maybe
Hmm.
learning whatever I
Hmm.
can.
Hmm.
So at times it could also, it could mean that
Hmm.
I have to make trade-offs.
Hmm.
Maybe say no to certain social events or something like that. But then it's always worth it because this is what I truly, truly love. So, like,
Hmm.
to the young people out there, I would like to say that
Hmm.
your passion doesn't really have to wait for that someday. I
Hmm.
mean, you don't really need to quit your job, quit your studies, or wait for a
Hmm.
perfect moment. A perfect
Hmm.
moment might never land in your way. Just start small, make time, even if it's just a few hours in a week. What will truly matter is your consistency, and like, your belief that your
Hmm.
even your creative self deserves a
Hmm.
space along with
Hmm.
your academic or your professional pursuits.
Hmm.
So, and also, like, I would say one shouldn't be afraid to blend in your worlds. It doesn't
Hmm.
really have to be two separate worlds. Like, one is my
Hmm.
professional world and the other is my passion world. Like, for me, I
Hmm.
would say even being in tech helps me to think in systems, I would say. It
Hmm. Hmm.
sort of really complements sometimes how I approach
Hmm.
conservation and storytelling. So,
Hmm.
your profession and passion need not be at odds. They can sometimes fuel each other beautifully.
Hmm.
You can even carve out a schedule wherein both can fit in. Like, for me, generally, I spend the entire day, the 9 to 5, mostly in office. But then
Hmm.
once I'm back, that's when my creative time starts.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think with discipline, it's
Yes,
possible to
yes.
give good amount of time and efforts to your passion as well.
Yes, yes. So discipline is a key to Akshita's, way of juggling everything together and doing them so well. And I would tell the listeners, she's even a very good dancer. And along with that, she has organized many events during college life. She continues to do a lot of things, and when she does them very well, each of them. And she's basically a perfectionist in everything, I think. And again, as you
Thank you so much.
mentioned, you're most welcome. Discipline is a key. Discipline, dedication, patience, perseverance, everything together makes a person so successful. And Akshita, so therefore, beautiful listening to your stories about your experiences, and of course how you managed to do everything so well. And of course, a lot of good wishes to you for your future. And thank you for being on this podcast. I'm sure your words are going to inspire a lot of young students, and definitely hoping that you will, take your work forward in the coming years and be even more successful. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Oishi. Like, likewise, it has been a wonderful experience coming to this platform. Love talking to you about so many things, and
Mhm.
yeah, it would be great if I could, inspire even one person out of whatever I've said so far. For anyone who even likes to enter into
Mhm.
this field or might be
Mhm.
having some questions, I think
Mhm.
I'm always very reachable as well for anyone
Mhm.
who might need any assistance or guidance. So,
Mhm.
yeah, you can maybe reach out to me on my social media or anywhere. I'm always open to
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Akshita. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lovely being here.
Yeah. Thank you.